Okay, here we go. All right, let's try that. Am I buffering now? Here we go. David Dion here from Open by Chance and the Open by Chance Media Lounge, all by himself because my wife has to sit with her father. As many of you are aware, recently, or within the last 9 weeks, because today marks week 9, Saturday afternoon. It is 4:51 p.m. where I am in Georgia, that her very ill father has moved in with us for the time being. And I just started, I was on for almost 15 minutes on YouTube direct without using a streaming service, and it was a failure. The buffering was really, really bad, and people were having a hard time following it, unfortunately. So here we are again on using StreamYard as a guard against that. And so hopefully this will go better. I know Lou from the Toys We Love is trying to help me out here on Facebook with the postings, because unfortunately Facebook has been giving me a very hard time doing postings recently. They won't let me post anything. They keep blocking me and accusing me of spam for even posting in my own damn group. They're giving me a really hard time, and it's been extremely difficult as a result. It's been extremely difficult as a result of that to share anything on Facebook at all, or Instagram, because Instagram is Facebook. And I have the little notification, and I had showed this in the last live stream. For those of you who are joining us here for the first time, I keep getting this warning anytime I post anything on Instagram, or you can't hardly see it, Instagram or Facebook. Trying to get the angle right, I get that warning, and I'll read it to you here really quickly. It says you can't use this feature right now. I mean, even just posting like a picture I took on my own group. We limit how often you can post, comment, or do other things in a given amount of time in order to help protect the community from spam. You can try again later, learn more, and then the learn more link does not work. The learn more link does not work. And I'll go ahead and say hello to some of the people jumping in here. I see Saturday Morning Fan is here. Lynx is here. Says I'm not buffering now. Pastor Rick is back. And Lynx suggests that Instagram's taking down users. I'm not surprised. Yeah, they're spamming me. They're giving me a hard time. Again, posting to my own group pictures. And if you're in the Facebook group, you know the kind of stuff I put there. How is it spam? How is it spam? Not that posting to Facebook groups helps at all with anything, any kind of promotion or whatever. I could post in 50 groups a link to one of the videos. I might get 4 views out of it. It's a complete waste of time. The direction that Facebook has gone in, they have all but ruined. They have all but ruined their community with their politics, and it's a damn shame. I also, again, I got scolded for the crown on Facebook. Somebody said, well, people will take offense to you wearing a crown. It's like the people that know who I am get the crown. You get the whole point. It's just a gimmick. We're just having fun with it. And as I had mentioned in the earlier attempt at a live stream that YouTube really screwed up, this is a actual legitimate prop crown. It's actually pretty good quality, but we found this at a Value Village for like $1. And I was showing it to my wife, and I said, I should wear this on the live stream. And she was like, yeah, get it and put it on the live stream and just see. And then I did, just for a laugh. And then on every other live stream I did, everybody's like, where's the crown? And then at the shows, I'm getting the same thing. Where's the crown? So I just carry it around when I go to the shows now. Two Old Geeks says, too much AI customer service, not enough human customer service. Indeed. Indeed. And Lynx has trouble with music on the Instagram. I am not surprised. I am not surprised. Yeah, Saturday Morning mentions Jughead with a crown. Well, his crown was actually a fedora that had been cut up. And that's something that kids used to do back in those days. They would take a fedora, an old fedora, cut the rim off, and then shape it into a crown, and they put pins and buttons on it. So that's a really old school thing that people used to do back in the day. But yeah, it's just a prop crown. It's just a gag. Somebody got mad at me on Facebook. I'm going to do a video talking about the crown to explain it to a lot of people, especially since we're kind of branding the channel after it now, as you saw from the thumbnail. And that is an image that LPH created to, I don't know. I don't know why she did that. But I think it's hilarious, and I get a kick out of it, and so I don't care what anybody thinks. Anyways, I don't care what anybody thinks. And Lynx invokes Jerry the King Lawler. And as I was beginning to mention, yeah, we've recently been rewatching a lot of the classic wrestling shows. Survivor, the first Survivor Series, WrestleManias 1 through 5. We've been sitting down and watching. And can anybody explain? And I think it was actually was it WrestleMania 5 or 4? The one where Roddy Piper and Brother Love were in the ring, and they brought Morton Downey Jr. out, and he's out there smoking cigarettes, and they did a bit, and it was really hard to watch. It was tedious. It was badly done. And I'm like, because usually when Piper is out there and he does a bit, he's really animated and he does really well. And it looks like almost like he didn't know what to do. And I'm like, why the hell is Morton Downey Jr. there trying to look tough? And and it was long. It was a long bit. And we were speculating maybe something else was supposed to take place at that time. That something else was supposed to take place and they needed a filler. That's all we could figure. That's all we could figure. But anyway, and Robert is back here now, says it looks a lot better. And wants to know where LPH is. Of course, LPH is sitting with her father right now. Many of you are aware of our family crisis, whereby we're taking care of her father. And today marks week 9. He has very severe dementia and cannot be alone. But she's been encouraging. We missed a lot of live streams because we usually do one every week. And she was encouraging me to just go ahead and do them anyways. And Moises is here. He said, did I pronounce that right? Moises Gillian. He says, will your legion of followers be called David Eons? I don't know. Do I have legions of followers? It's just me with a prop crown just playing around. That's all it is. But yeah, people recognize it now and they want me to bring it around. Pixel Dan was picking on me for it because he was like, yeah, you're in the same boat I am with the whole Zartan thing. As many of you are aware, he dressed up as Ninja Force Zartan. You remember when he did that? And everywhere he goes now, people expect him to have a mohawk. And he's like, oh, give me a break. Oh, man. Saturday Morning Fan says RoboCop, Mr. T, and Freddy Krueger also wrestled. Yeah, but the RoboCop and the Freddy Krueger bits were like WCW final stages before they went out of business bullshit. They had Chucky. I mean, it was bad. They got the writing. It started off okay, and then they went down a slippery slope and couldn't recover it on WCW. But on the Mr. T wrestling, he was out there as himself. So it was a lot more easier to swallow when he appeared in WrestleMania 3, which broke records. I think that was the largest attendance in a stadium to date, with some 93,000 plus. And Lynx talks about Dad. Yeah, Dad is in really, really bad shape. Dad is in really bad shape. His dementia is quite severe. He doesn't even know who I am, and I've known him for 15 years. So it's pretty bad. And it's difficult to take care of him, and it's 24/7, and he's up all night, and medicine doesn't work. In and out of doors, setting the alarm on the house off, trying to leave because he wants to go hitchhike in the street to go home. Crazy stuff. And it's like, oh. But yeah, so that's why, we do the roundup real quick. The roundup's only like about 20 minutes or so, because it's not scripted, and we don't splice it. I mean, we just talk and then we're done. Which is probably why a lot of people like it, because they can tell it's just off the cuff and organic. And Moises says he enjoyed the Crown video at Toylanta. Yeah, but yeah, everybody expects it, and they know who I am. The Crown helps them to identify me too. It's hilarious, but I don't mind. It's all in good fun. It's no different than somebody cosplaying, only I'm kind of cosplaying as myself, if that makes any sense. And of course, Robert, I'll let Trinessa know. That people have been asking after her on the live streams. Yeah, that's right. Saturday Morning Fan says Pixel Dan had the handsome man action figure thing. He told me that too the last time I saw him. That he was like, yeah, they first they want to know where the orange mohawk is, and then they ask for handsome man, and I don't even have him with me now. And that was at the last Toylanta, the last time I actually had a chance to talk to him in person. Aside from like chatting or online. And Robert says they had Trump in wrestling. Yeah, well, I think at least WrestleManias 4 and 5 were at the Trump Plaza, and he was there. He was there. A lot of people were involved in wrestling. A lot of people were involved in wrestling off and on. Alice Cooper was out in, I think, WrestleMania 4, looking pathetic. He looked like an old woman in the 80s with his shoulders all slumped over. He looked like he weighed 120 pounds. Robert, I think he's 76. Robert, I think he's 76 years old, 76 or 77. But that was tough. Did you guys? Oh, and I mentioned it also. I tried to in the last live stream that fell apart. I should probably just go in and delete that, because it's 10 minutes of buffering, and I just had to cancel it and go back to StreamYard. Teach me a lesson. I can't trust YouTube for nothing. Talking about the short that I had done at my friend Martin's house. And Martin, of course, is the guy who owns Retroville. He owns Retroville, and he is he's the guy who puts on the Retro Toy Swap, which you guys have seen before. I go to the Retro Toy Swap 6 times a year. 6 times a year. And film. And I've had a lot of luck there. Hold on, I got to respond to a couple of people. couple of people are on the old live trying to ask where I am. So I'm just trying to respond to them here really quickly. But I was at his house. He had a small gathering at his house and took a quick look at his collection. Well, we were there for a while, but I filmed his collection in a short really quickly to share with people. And I can try to show it to you here really quick. Because I should be able to open this up. If you did not see that short. Let me pull this up here real quick. All right. Yeah, he has an outstanding personal collection. And I'm going to, I can share the page. That's what I'm going to do. I'll share this page for you so that you can see his collection really quickly. And Felicia says, sorry to hear about your father. Is it Felicia? Yeah. Father-in-law. Please send her my regards. It's a lot of work when a parent or anyone has dementia. It is. It is. No, Robert. Pixel Dan has not been to the new house yet. He has not been to the new house yet. But this is Martin's collection, the guy who runs the Retroville show that I go to, Retro Toy Swap. And I'll play this through for you here real quick.
Yeah, I got that from Second Chance at I think
It's at my friend's
Martin's
Migo,
house, some old robots.
Collection.
There's the Migo Godzillas. He's got the deluxe series Star Wars figures down there.
And of course, Martin's got
Voltron,
absolute
Inhumanoids.
The Rodan.
He had some, I don't know if you caught it.
Yeah, that's the hard
The funny face mugs that I've got. Let me get past this guy because I had film over his head.
Like I said, I played with mine till the wings fell off.
Some Marks, G.I. Joe. He's got Action Man from England.
Been a Rodan.
Which one's
yeah, Gregory's
the bat
gonna
with the blood
pretty
inside
much
him.
be difficult to.
I don't know if I've ever used.
Just a hodgepodge of different
difficult
things
to display, I was thinking.
that caught his eye that he enjoys. Just wanted to show some of that real quick in the short. And I just let that run again. He's got Tomland. He's got the Tomland figures. He's got some loose Tomland. Those are really hard to find.
Quick look at his collection.
And again, Robert says, praying good wishes for all of you. We appreciate it, guys. You know, it's not easy.
Of course, Martin's got the absolute grail that I'm looking for, the Rodan. Yeah, that's the hard one, man.
I took mine to the swimming.
It's not easy to deal with.
Like I said, I played with mine till the wings fell off of it. So.
You know, I think all things being equal, I'd rather have a Gregory.
Trying to get and Lou. I'm hearing from Lou here. He's trying to get me. He was asking if he wants
the bat with the blood
me
inside him.
to post
I don't know if I've ever used
the link because Facebook again is blocking me from reposting. I can post once, maybe twice, and then it shuts me down now. Mickle Stapler asking, of course, where's LPH? Yeah, she's upstairs with Dad because he can't be alone at all.
Yeah, I got that from Second Chance.
But he's got a lot of really interesting stuff.
It's at my friend's Martin's house.
Saturday morning wants to know if I have Reboot. I remember Reboot. My son used to watch that, and I did used to have a set of the Reboot action figures carded. I no longer have those. Robert wants to know if he had anything I would have liked to have. Yeah, there's a couple of things here that caught my eye that I'm like, oh crap, I'd love to have that. Like, let me stop it or try to. I'll show you a couple of things here. That is like right here. That's the Kenner Big Chap Alien. I don't have one of those. You know, I'd like to get that. That'd be pretty cool. Down in the case below here, of course, he's got the deluxe
collection
series 1978 Kenner figures like I do. and I have everyone except for IG88 loose, and he's got a loose complete IG88. That'd be pretty cool if I could get IG88. And right there, you might have missed it. He's got Rodan there. That is the Mattel Shogun Warriors Rodan, and he's in good shape. Usually, a lot of times the wing is broken. So yeah, I mean, he's got a couple of things that I'm like, oh wow, I'd love to get a hold of one of those.
The Rodan.
But you know, you see that in a lot of collections. He's got the same funny face mugs that I do.
Yeah, that's the hard.
He's also missing the brown one. I don't have the brown cup either from the set.
Like I said, I played with mine until the wings fell off of it. So.
There's a bunch of Marks and G.I.
You know, I think all
Joe
things
and
being equal, I'd rather have a Gregory than
some more Shogun Warriors. Those two Battlestar Galactica 12-inch I'd like to have.
Rodan.
Which one's
I used to have a set of
Gregory,
those. I don't anymore.
It must be difficult to.
And then right here, and a lot of people wouldn't recognize this. Okay. He also collects the Child Guidance Sesame Street like I do. But he's got Franklin in the box. I don't have Franklin. And then this Ernie is in the original release frame tray box instead of the green and white box like I have. And the frame tray ones are very, very difficult to come by. And Robert says, don't you have the helicopter? I do have the Adventure Team helicopter. Mine is still in the box. His is assembled. But, you know, that's neither here nor there.
Difficult to display.
You see he has my, there's the Kentucky Fried Chicken Colonel Bank. I have that.
Difficult to display. I would think, you know.
There's a lot of odds and ends, some pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, he's got a nice collection. And there's some more Adventure Team stuff there, and a couple on the top here. Those are A.J. Renzi banks, the Hulk and the Spider-Man. And a lot of those banks were repurposed by A.J. Renzi into Halloween buckets. Basically, they sawed the tops of the heads off and put a strap and made it into a Halloween bucket. Saturday Morning wants to know, did he have over-the-top action figures? I didn't notice. I don't think he did he? Did you see over-the-top in that collection?
Yeah, I got that from.
I don't think I saw over-the-top.
I think.
See this nice set of loose Star Trek there,
At my
amigo.
friend's
I don't
Martin's
recall seeing
house,
over the
just
top. And then right here, and it's hard to tell, these are Tomland. He's got the 8-inch and the 3 3/4-inch Tomland figures, which
Taking
even
quick.
loose are really, really difficult to find. And then the Topper King Ding robot. That's the one that's expensive, is the King
Look at
Ding.
his collection.
And of course the Star Wars down there. And I need that IG88 myself. But yeah, he's got a nice collection of stuff.
Of course, Martin,
And the rest of it, I could have shown the rest of the room. There was a lot of people in there though, because like I said, it was a little impersonal gathering that he was having with some friends that we were invited
I
to.
played with mine until the wings fell off of it.
So, you know, I didn't want to like be climbing over people too much.
Gregory than a
Marvel fans looking for the banks. Yeah, they were made by A.J. Renzi, R-E-N-Z-I. A.J. Renzi. And I do have some A.J. Renzi stuff. And they made blow mold like everything. They made blow mold everything. There's also a Thing bust, I think, too, and that's really hard to find. That's really hard to find. So yeah, it was nice going and being able to hang out with them for a while. You know,
Was at my
have a little
friend's
chat.
Martin's house, just taking a quick look at his
Again, Martin's a
collection.
nice guy. Really into the nostalgia of everything. So it was just cool to be able to hang out with them. And again, that's a short that I put up today on the channel.
I took mine to the swimming pool.
Like I said, I played with mine till the wings fell
that I
off
just
of
thought
it,
was
so.
pretty
You know,
interesting.
I think all things being equal, I'd rather have a Gregory
Let me change that image there
than a Ronin.
and put my snap, crackle, and pop up
Glory's
there.
Bat with a blood
pretty
inside
much
of
be difficult
Robert
to,
likes the
I don't
red
remember if you've seen that.
dino.
be difficult
Dino or
to
Dino?
display, I was thinking, I would think, you know.
Yeah, Marvel fans correct. The My Pet Monsters have gotten very, very expensive. And again, I remember when they didn't cost anything; they were cheap. You could get those really, really cheap. He's got a Sucker Man up
At my
there.
friend's Martin's house.
Some cool stuff.
Taking a quick look at his collection.
Of course, you know, it doesn't hurt that he goes and sets up at shows so he gets some early access on some deals sometimes.
And of course, Martin's got the.
What are you going to do?
absolute grail
That's all right.
that
I don't
the-
fault
the
him.
road
I
is.
would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would do this. I would totally do the same thing. And I do try. You know, I get to some of those shows pretty freaking early.
You know, I
There's
think all
another
things
interesting
being
piece.
equal,
There's
I'd
a
rather
piece
have
here
a
he beat me
Gregory
out
than
on
a,
at the Joe Lanta. I'll stop and I'll show it to you here in a second.
the bat with a blood
Let's see,
inside of him.
right there. You see that vinyl-headed figure with the green hair? That is actually Barney Rubble from Knickerbocker. And he found that at the Joe Lanta. And I'm like, damn it, because I know he got it cheap. I know he got it real cheap. And the hair, the green hair, that's how they made him. It's not even oxidization. And Delroy is here. He says, thanks for the Toy Fair catalog tours. I find stuff like that very interesting. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been able to do one. I do have more Toy Fair. Do I have them down here? I forget where I put them. I've got a stack of Toy Fair catalogs. I haven't been able to do one for a while, but I probably should do it again. Because those are really interesting. And sometimes you see stuff in there that was never even produced. And Paul is there. Yes, he says, great stuff on the shelves. Indeed. Kay Munin is here. Glad you could make it. Glad you could make it today. But yeah, he beat me to that Knickerbocker Barney Rubble. I would have got that.
I don't remember if you've seen that.
I would have snapped that
I
up.
was thinking, I would think, you know.
That's pretty cool. And he has the Knickerbocker Cookie Monster chair too there. And LPH actually has the Big Bird one. Has the Big Bird one. Robert wants to know if it was the black helicopter is the same. Yeah, I believe it's the same mold. And there's another one that has pontoons though. So there are some variations. And Lynx wants to know, is it from the 60s? I do believe it is. The majority of the vinyl-faced stuffed animals from Knickerbocker are going to be from the 1960s. And they did a lot of Hanna-Barbera stuff. There's a ton of it, like Huckleberry Hound and Quick Draw McGraw and all sorts of them. They have that hard or soft, rather, vinyl rubber face and then a all-cloth body. And that was pretty, that's a pretty common thing for Knickerbocker at that time period. And Robert wants to know if I changed the comic rack. We did. And I did a video on it a few days ago. I did one last week, an update on the comic book rack. It's right over here, actually. It's out of shot. It's out of shot. But yeah, we updated this. And I put it on, I did a video because she filled a row up with Witching Hour and then Batman and Detective. And then I did the Hulk. And then a series of autographs. But that video went up, what, Monday or Tuesday this week? Monday or Tuesday this week, as we try to catch up. I also did put up an unboxing video this week, and I had some interesting things in the unboxing. I still have them here because I got this, And I know a lot of people wouldn't care about that, but this is from 1970, and it is the Romper Room Tambourine. If you remember Romper Room, that's one of those shows that just kind of faded away into obscurity now, like Captain Kangaroo and all sorts of weird stuff. Shows like that used to be huge, that now nobody even knows they existed. And you see the tambourine is still intact. And I was interested in getting this because I had this exact one as a child, and mine was destroyed because that is literally just a piece of cardboard in there. It's just a piece of cardboard. And you know, you give this to a 3-year-old, he's going to destroy the damn thing, right? But I found one in the box, and this was part of the unboxing. Again, I put that video up, what, Thursday or something? Wednesday or Thursday? I don't remember. As well as a few other things. But yeah, to me, I mean, it's not worth much, but it's worth something to me because it's a piece of my childhood. Piece of my childhood. And again, 1970 Romper Room, which of course the Romper Room brand was sold specifically by Hasbro. And that is the old Hasbro symbol, the house, only they put Romper Room in there instead of Hasbro. And Munin said, what was the Spider-Man head on the top shelf? There was a Spider-Man and there was a Hulk, and those are both A.J. Renzi blow mold banks. And I do have a couple of A.J. Renzi pieces. They made blow mold everything, mostly though banks and Halloween buckets. A.J. Renzi made, and some of them can be quite expensive. And Kay is here, says, hope all goes the best for LPH and her father. Thank you, Kay. It's been very hard for us. And yeah, Pete says there's a Barney Rubble. Yeah, Barney Rubble. They did the Flintstones. They did a lot of Hanna-Barbera characters, Knickerbocker. Ideal also made Pebbles and Bam Bam dolls that were packaged in 2 different formats. A boxed version and a smaller version that came inside of a plastic cave that was cello wrapped. Those are really, really hard to find. Those are really, really hard to find. Yeah, Delroy says Captain Kangaroo and the Great Space Coaster. Yeah, Great Space Coaster is another one that's kind of fading away. And Toy Chic is joining us. Glad you could make it today. What else? Saturday Morning said, did Mr. Wizard's World have any merchandise? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And then some of those shows didn't have much merchandise. Like, again, the Romper Room had stuff like this. And I have the guitar, too. I have the Romper Room guitar in the box. And it's the only one I've ever seen still packaged. With Jolly, was it Jolly the Clown? On the front of the guitar. And if you look up, for example, Captain Kangaroo, any kind of merchandise, they didn't make much. They had, I forget who it was. There was a company that made some rag dolls. There was the little cups. They're like these little sized, child-sized cups that have lenticular eyes. There's a handful of weird items. There's a handful of weird items that were made for, Whitman puzzles maybe, but very little actual merchandising for Captain Kangaroo. Electric Company didn't get much merchandising. Great Space Coaster didn't get much merchandising. It's kind of surprising that they didn't do more. I also got the Super Dino Monsters, and I showed these in the video again. I put up 2 videos this week independently of the weekly roundup. So 3 videos, including the weekly roundup. And one was an unboxing and one is the comic rack, because I got more Super Dino Monsters. And these are, they're like just over 3 inches. Actually, do I have my measuring tape? I do have a measuring tape here. can see. This one is actually he's what, 3.5 inches, so about the same size as your average Kenner Star Wars figure from back in the day. And he's got one whole point of articulation. You see the split there in his waist, so he can twist back and forth, but nothing else moves. And I got 2 of these just recently. That was in the unboxing. And this brings me to 9 total. You see there how this is the most cheaply packaged thing ever. And they were sold like in Woolworths in the 80s. And this is literally, again, zip tied to the package. There's no blister. Every card is the same. And there's 12 in the set. And they're knockoffs of Ultraman Kaiju, basically. They're just knockoffs of Ultraman Kaiju. And the ones in the picture aren't even colored the same as the actual figures. And I had mentioned that in the video. Like, you see this guy's purple, but if you look at him on the card, he's blue. And then this guy on the card back is red, actually, because if you see how he's purple, but you turn him around, that's him right there. And I've never seen them in these colors, only the colors that are on these cards. But there's 12 in the set. I now have 9. So I need 3 more. Very, very difficult to find these on the card. They're as rare as hen's teeth, as they used to say. Delroy talking about his original comic book. First comic he ever had was Goofy eating giant peanuts. There you go. Fasto fan says, in the tour of your friend's room was the purple skin Sesame Street puppet, the make your own version. No, that was Franklin. The make your own version is a foam head, and I think it's like almost like Velcro pieces you stick on. That one was the Franklin puppet. But Franklin is very, very difficult to find. Franklin and that other one are very hard. And then even worse than that, there's a company, I can't think of the name of the company, but there was a company in Spain that was subcontracted through Galoob, which Galoob owned and operated Child Guidance. And they made the same puppets in Spain in small window boxes. This box about same size as the green ones that I have for Child Guidance, but it was cut out in the front so that you could see the puppet. And they made characters that were not made in the United States. They made Guy Smiley. They made what's his name? Sherlock Hemlock. They made, I think, the Bird, Big Bird's little friend, Bird. And that stuff is insanely expensive to find. I don't know that there's hardly any of it stateside, but yeah, it's crazy how much people want for those. If and when they're advertised, I don't know if I'd ever be able to get one unless I just got lucky, and you never know. You never know. Kay says some toy conventions aren't worth getting too late. All the good stuff or the good or rare stuff gets snagged, but sometimes you can score late afternoons when they want to get rid of things. Correct. And that's the best time to be at a show is either right at the beginning or right when they're getting close to packing up and going home, because yeah, they don't want to keep repacking that stuff. Stuff could get damaged, stuff could get lost. It's a pain in the butt. Delroy remembers a moose and ping pong balls. That was a gag on Captain Kangaroo, where there was some word they're not supposed to say or something like that, and then ping pong balls would fall on whoever said it. But there was a moose puppet that was a regular on the show. Correct. Correct. Also, I got a little bag of this was not in the video, of Fisher Price Little People. And it's interesting because this is a mixed bag of characters because they're in different formats. This is the one that's the most common. And this is the plastic one. You see a little plastic fireman. But I also have the wooden one. See? This one is the wooden one. The one that has the freckled face is actually made out of wood because they made them out of wood first. This is the only plastic one that's in here. The rest of these are wood. See, there's the bad kid. Generic person. And then the good kid with the pot on his head. He's wearing a frying pan. Excuse me. And they did away with these. You can actually see the transition here. And I'll demonstrate. This one is wood. So before they did plastic again, and he's got a plastic bolt that connects through and attaches to the hat. Then they have the wood one with a plastic bolt that attaches through to the hat. But before that, the wooden ones, I don't know how well you can see that. That is a nail. So if I were to tear his head off, which you can do, if you put enough pressure on this, you can pop this off. You've got a spike underneath there. See this guy too. If I turn him upside down, that's a nail. It's a spike through there. This one I think you can see that one more clearly because that one's shinier. He's got a nail through his head that goes down into the body, or through the body that goes up into the head. So you could totally tear his head off and shiv somebody, the chow line, as Saul would say on Breaking Bad. Little the chow line. So, but yeah, wooden ones from a collector's perspective, especially if you flip them over and they've got a spike in there instead of plastic, are a lot more desirable to collectors because they're earlier versions. And Cheeseburgers is joining us, as well as Raccoon. I'm glad you could make it. Munin found Eagle Force figures today, but the boxes were trashed. That's often the case. I was very lucky to find the Eagle Force figures that I have in the condition that they're in. Some of you might recall from the Joe Lanta, I came across almost a full set of the Mego Eagle Force. And we didn't get a wave 2. There was going to be that action figure series, believe it or not, was selling. It was very popular. Those little 2-inch die-cast figures from Eagle Force, they were selling. Mego was making a bundle on them. And they had prepared a second wave, but of course, Mego went bankrupt. They filed for bankruptcy. Marty was in court, the owner. He went to jail for embezzling from the company. A lot of bad stuff happened. And yes, that is the same Marty Abrams from New Mego. Bankrupt his company through embezzlement. And he's in charge of Mego again. He is in charge of Mego again. Robert wonders if the kids hurt themselves with the nail. Possibly. That's probably why they changed it. Somebody complained. Yeah, Saturday morning reminds us Little Bird with Big Bird's friend. Correct. I think they made a Little Bird puppet, is what I'm suggesting. As well as I know they did Guy Smiley, and I know that they did Sherlock Hemlock. Of course, the names would be in Spanish, not in English. But they're very rare. They're very rare. And Frankenfrog is joining us. Glad you could make it today. Again, very early today. Probably be on for a little while longer. Wife is upstairs with her dad. And, just trying to find some time to come in. But these are a lot of people looking for these. These are getting more and more expensive all the time. These Fisher Price sets, the little peg people, especially if the set is complete and God forbid it's in the box. Boxed examples are selling for quite a bit. Selling for quite a bit. Delroy remembers Eagle Force and Lionel Playworld in 1986. They had them on the shelves for a while. They were moving, though. They were popular. They were doing good for Mego. And Mego needed to go in a different direction because the 8-inch figure line was dead. And they had screwed up with the 3 3/4-inch line because they made anything that came down the pipe. Uh-oh. Did I lose connection to the camera? Let's try that again. It's acting up. But they were trying anything after Star Wars. Anything that they could get. There I am. Anything that they could get. And that's how you ended up with stuff like Star Trek, the motion picture figures. 2 Old Geeks still likes the original Mego. The original Mego or the modern one? I'm assuming you mean the original Mego, which they had a lot of classic stuff. They really did. But Star Trek, the motion picture, not that kind of movie. You see what I'm saying? Or they did, obviously, the Love Boat. Bad choice. I could see that now because people are nostalgic, but back then, what little kid is playing with Love Boat figures? I really want a Captain Stubing figure. I hope they make one. No little kid said that ever. Okay? Saturday Morning's telling us that Mego chose Love Boat over Thundar the Barbarian. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, it links Rice Krispies. You see it in the upper corner right there. And those are I have a loose set and a boxed set of the Product People Rice Krispies vinyl figures, and that's what that is a picture of. Yeah, Black Hole also, Saturday Morning fan. Black Hole is one of those films. You appreciate it better with age. It's like a fine wine. When it first came out, people didn't get it, but it became a big cult classic. Same thing with Tron, the original Tron. People didn't get it. Wizard of Oz didn't do well in the box office. Bill and Ted. A lot of examples like that. But yeah, the Black Hole, and those figures are worth a lot now. Any Black Hole figures will sell for quite a bit. Well, no, the standard crew is mostly reasonable, the humans, but when you start getting into like the androids and stuff, those get very pricey. Those get very pricey. For some reason, though, the 12.5-inch versions, you can find them even in the box for a fairly reasonable price. Those never caught on. Those never caught on. But some films, after the fact, the bulb just comes on for people and they're like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And Black Hole is one of them. The film, the visuals of that film are amazing. The soundtrack is really good. The storyline is good. I think it threw a lot of people with the ending because the ending is very surreal, kind of like the ending of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and people are sitting in the theater like, what happened? I don't understand. I don't understand. Munin talking about kids in school would have clowned you mercilessly for having Love Boat figures. Yeah, the playset's expensive too. The playset is real expensive. The figures aren't too bad aftermarket, but the playset is. And all it is a cardboard cutout of the ship. It's a freaking cardboard cutout. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Lynx, he says, love Tron. All 3 movies didn't do well in theaters. Well, the thing is, the first film, it is it's classic 80s, and people got it after the fact. The sequels, I don't think they have the same impact at all. I saw the second film. I don't remember it at all. It just fell right out of my head. I don't care if I ever see it again. But the original film, I could watch it tomorrow. You know, it resonated. It resonated. There's something about it, especially appreciating what they went through to do that film. How much effort went into doing something like that. It was incredible. But and the suits, I mean, you know, there was no animation on the suits. It's the same thing, the same type of suit they used for Automan, and it's a material that's highly reflective. So when light's shown on it, it literally glows, and that's how they did those scenes. And I just really appreciate all of that. But it makes a lot more sense after the fact. A lot more sense after the fact. And then, of course, there's the Italian versions of the black hole figures, because in Italy they made large versions of Maximilian and of Vincent, and those could be expensive. Yeah, Saturday Morning says that MASH had figures too. Those are made by TriStar. Those have been getting expensive. The TriStars aftermarket have been, in recent years, those have really been flying. Migo talks about the Waltons. He said that line always perplexed him too. Not sure what kids were asking for that in the 70s. Nobody. No one. Or Our Gang. The Our Gang figures don't make any sense either. Because I know that the Little Rascals were playing pretty repetitively on television, on UHF stations in the morning, particularly during the summer. Those were on a lot in reruns from the old movie shorts or the movie serials. But the figures for those didn't make much sense. It didn't make much sense. But what are you going to do? You know, Lynx likes the old school Tron. Yeah, I can go for the first one any day of the week. The second one, I've completely forgot what even happened in it. I don't even care. And this third one, I don't even want to see it. I could give a damn about the new one. It's like, oh well, there was another Tron film, big deal. Saturday Morning says Dell Comics did a Black Hole sequel comic. Did a sequel. That's interesting. Another line that I'm really fond of from that time period, of course, is the Fisher-Price Adventure People. And I talk about this often. The Fisher-Price Adventure People is your little submarine clamp. The submersible with the little engineer in there with his headset. 5 points articulation figure in his submarine that you can put in the bathtub and it will float. It's got little pontoons. I don't want it to float. I want to sink it. It's a sub. But for a toy, again, the reason I think this is so brilliant, because people say that Kenner introduced the 3 3/4 inch figures to action figures, which dominated for more than a decade. G.I. Joe made them in that scale. Hasbro, a raw era G.I. Joe. Everybody, Mego was doing them in that size. The MASH figures from TriStar were in that size. But these were they repainted these as prototypes for Kenner. So these really started it. And they're brilliant for a series of toys that have no comic book, no movie, no television, no nothing. Nothing. They're just, Fisher-Price just put out action figures. Hey, they're adventure people. They got boats and subs and campers, and it was like Big Jim, but they're 1/18th scale. They're like 1/18th scale. And I just think that this line is fascinating. Plus, they're durable. These figures are solid. These figures are solid. They're well constructed. The toys are well constructed. They're imaginative. They got a space series. They have an adventure series. They got dirt bikes. They got I got the dragster. Is a cool one. Ripcord dragster. Delroy says the MASH headquarters would make a great centerpiece between all the G.I. Joe land-based play sets. Yeah, except that it costs more than anything from G.I. Joe. That that MASH headquarters play set in the box, if you could find one in the box and it was complete, you'd probably pay $1,000 for it. You'd probably pay about $1,000 for it. But this has always been one of the most fascinating toy lines to me, is the Fisher-Price Adventure People. I have a few pieces. I wish I had more, but it's just amazing. Plus the nostalgia of it as well. People really recognize these figures. They resonate with a lot of people, just like the Fisher-Price Little People, which, as I pointed out earlier, these are going up all the time. People are thinking back and remembering to their early childhood. I had that toy. I had that gas station. I had the airport. I think almost everybody must have had the garage. The garage one was really popular. Or there's stuff that they wanted to have, like the castle set. I always wanted the castle set when I was a kid. I didn't have it. I had the garage. The garage play set. I did have the garage, but I think that's the only one that I had. I wanted the circus train, stuff like that. There was they did a couple of Sesame Street sets, things like that are pretty cool. That again, harder to find now, a lot more desirable, as is the Fisher-Price Adventure People. Sealed, boxed, and carded versions are going up all the time. You can find them loose. You can find them loose a lot, but they're pretty well played with most of the time. Yeah, Migo Matt says that had a lot of Fisher-Price Adventure People, loved them, just started picking them up again. Yeah, they're fantastic. And what a great toy line. Again, for a toy series that had nothing. No promotion, no TV show, no comic, no movie, nothing. They just threw them out there and said, yeah, here's an action figure line. But they were really cool. It was just really cool. And it was stuff that you might want when you were a kid, watching the safari truck and all of the great stuff that they came up with. Not so sure about the TV van, because they got the TV crew van, but I would take it. I would take it now. I have some loose pieces like that submarine that I just showed, but I also have some boxed and carded sets. Mostly what I have is space related, though, is the Alpha Probe series stuff that I have. It's just such a great toy line. Underrated. But it's one of those things where people see it and they know instantly what it is. They know what it is. Toy Chic says, why don't you have the Fisher-Price Muppet beanies? There's 3 Kermit, Piggy, and Fonzie. Beanies? Or babies? What are you talking about? Muppet beanies. I'm not sure. Mysterion wants to know if I have Big Daddy Roth Rat Fink stuff. No, I don't have any Rat Fink. Toy Chic said Beanie Babies. I don't have any Beanie Babies. I don't have any Beanie Babies. I have nothing like that. But the Muppets stuff that I do have, I've got the original Fisher Price action figures. I've got a lot of Sesame Street stuff. I had wanted to expand into because Fisher Price also made full-sized dolls and puppets in the 70s as well, or the 70s or early 80s, to coincide with, I think the 70s, to coincide with the Muppet Show, to go along with the Muppet Show, because they had 7 of the little 3-inch figures carded, and then they made the large pieces as well. They made one of the large pieces as well. And if you really want to dig, there was a promotion. Oh God, it's old. It's like 50s. There was a promotion of Muppet toys related to commercials because Muppets actually started out in commercial advertising. It actually started out in commercial advertising. And Toy Chic says 1979 was the release. Back when Jim Henson was doing stand-up with the puppets. And he did a lot of commercials. But so one of those advertising companies, you could get some puppets. I think it was a couple of puppets from. They're insanely expensive now. They're insanely expensive now. Migo says there was a Muppet available in the 70s you could put a variety of faces on. Yeah, that's the make your own from Child Guidance. Because I have a few of the Child Guidance puppets. I don't have the make your own. He looks kind of like the Franklin puppet, but his face is totally blank and he has accessories. It's like a cloth version of Mr. Potato Head. And that's probably the most expensive one in the set from the American versions. Logic Blaster is joining us. He says, I love your nostalgic takes on classic toys, especially 70s era Mego and G.I. Joe. And Action Joe Figs is with us as well. I try to remember. I don't remember everything. I'm sure there's people that know a lot more than I do. But I try to know something about the things that I have, so instead of just having it. You know what I mean? Plus, also, it helps you to find the rest of whatever you're looking for if you're missing things. And it can lead to other things that you might find interesting. Saturday Morning says he has his Gobo Fraggle Rock plush, HBO's first primetime original series. I've got the box set sitting back here. I don't think you can see it. It's behind the comic rack. They pulled a real big okie doke with the Fraggle Rock box set too, the DVD series, because it was being released one season at a time, but they only released 4 out of 5 seasons, and then the project was canceled. And then a few years later, they released the box set with all 5 seasons in it, same company. And it's like, well, shit, now we have to buy the box set to get the 5th season. Bastards. I have the Fraggle Rock guitar. I have the Fraggle Rock children's guitar still on the card. I used to also have the Muppet Babies banjo, big child one on a blister card, like 2 feet tall. And the banjo I lost, and I've never seen another one. I've never seen the Fraggle Rock guitar again either. The only one I've ever seen is the one I have. And Nerd is joining us. But I think some of you have seen it in like pictures or videos that I've posted, the Fraggle Rock guitar. Toy Chic says, I've only ever found 3 seasons at thrift stores in the hunt. Thanks for letting me know that. Yeah, they never made season 5. They did the same thing with the Muppet Show. I think only the first 3 or 4 seasons was released of the Muppet Show on disc, and they never released the rest of it. They never released the rest of it. See, this is the box set. That's the Fraggle Rock complete series box set. But yeah, they never released season 5 independently, unless they've done it since then. I don't think so though. I'm sure you can find it bootleg though, if you don't mind bootleg. It's just, that's just how it is sometimes. And the Muppet Show, I got the Muppet Show down here too. I've only got 3 seasons of the Muppet Show, and I think that's where they stopped. And the Muppet Show ran into the same problem as as like Batman 66 and WKRP and Miami Vice. A lot of unresolved issues with those. It took a long time to get them on disc because of copyrights. And a lot of guest stars on the Muppet Show, the people who are still alive and the people who own the rights to the family names of stars that are deceased want a piece of that pie. That's why it took forever to get Batman 66 on disc. And that's why WKRP was released with different music. And then everybody complained and they had to go back to the drawing board and do it over. And the same thing happened also to Miami Vice. Because you don't want to watch Miami Vice without the original music. You know what I mean? Mysterion says he has a Burt Puppet open-faced box in the box from 72, one of the first Sesame Street realized toys released. Educational Toys, a division of Topper Corp. Interesting. It's not Child Guidance. Is it on a background? Is it in a frame tray box? And it looks like brick that's hand drawn. It looks like brick that's hand drawn. It's the same It's the same exact puppet as the Child Guidance one. And Mysterion says yes. Okay, yeah. I know the exact one that you're talking about. That is associated with Child Guidance, which again is Galoob. And they went from that box. They did a couple in a frame tray like that. And they did, I think, Cookie Monster in a box that looks like a TV set that's open in the front. So you can see his face in there. And then they switched to the green and white sealed boxes which are the ones that I have. I don't have the ones that are in the frame tray. I wish I did. And Pastor Rick made a donation to the channel for the cats, of course. Thank you. We still have 13 that we're taking care of. So every little bit for the cats to help to maintain them is very much appreciated. Yeah, correct, Links. Knight Rider had the same problem because a lot of the music on Knight Rider is original music that you would recognize. Except for the episode where Michael Knight impersonated a rock star. The songs that he sang were his own songs because David Hasselhoff was a singer. And Logic says, have you heard Super 7 said they're doing more Micronauts? Yes, we showed 2 in yesterday's roundup. Love the artwork. They're switching it to O-ring now, though. They're going to be O-ring figures. And Toy Chic says he wants to send comics. Are you guys still into reading new books? Well, we primarily read the comics that we read are mostly older ones, gold, silver, bronze, copper age. But modern books, I don't get any modern books. I don't remember the last time. She does have some modern books that somebody sent us, which are the DC versus Godzilla, but she has not read them yet. She wants to. She wants to. But yeah, what are you going to do? But yeah, that's the big problem with the Muppet Show. I think that's why they never finished producing it. They never finished putting it out, which is unfortunate because I would love to see the rest of the Muppet Show. I'm sure you can find it online, but I prefer owning it. I prefer owning it to borrowing it off of a streaming service. The streaming services are unreliable. You never know what you're going to get. We were thinking about that. We were thinking about that while we're watching the WrestleManias and stuff like that, because we've been watching the original ones. Okay. We've been watching the original WrestleManias. We watched the first 5. We watched the first Survivor Series, which I think was 1987. And even those are edited because, of course, they cannot say WWF anymore. So whenever someone says WWF, they say WW, and then it goes blank for a second. I'm like, God, give me a break. And Toy Chic says they're modern, good, independent stories. Well, I appreciate that, Toy Chic. And Mr. On, I keep wanting to say Mysterion because, of course, Jerry Anderson and the Jerry Anderson series, Captain Scarlet, Mysterions, we are the Mysterions. He says, were you ever a fan of the Electric Company? Absolutely. The original Electric Company? Sure. I used to watch that. There's not much merchandising there either. There's not much merchandising for that either. Robert wants to know how many seasons there were in the Muppet Show. Was it 5? Was it 5 seasons? I'm trying to remember. Somebody might know better than me. And it's one of those shows that they've tried to bring it back. They've tried to recreate it over and over again, and they just can't pull it off. Its era has passed. And like most things that are nostalgic, in the modern world, they're only viewed for their financial value. And so the charm that made it a cultural phenomenon at the time, because remember, the Muppet Show was not for kids. It was primetime television. That was for adults. The charm that made it a cultural phenomenon at that time is completely lost in the modern era on these people that are in charge of these franchises that look at them and are like, oh, how much money can we make? Rather than what made it so special in the first place. And we've seen so many franchises killed this way, especially in the last decade. We've seen so many ruined, not just the Muppets. But I mean, hell, Tron's being ruined right now. Tron's being ruined. Can't even get that right. Star Wars has been ruined. Walking Dead was ruined eventually because it was on too long. Anything that they bring back. Toy Chic said 3 released, 5 made in total. Yeah, I thought it was 5 seasons. But yeah, between the original Muppet Show, between the music that was used and all the guest stars, it's just impossible. It's just impossible. They don't want to pay all those people. It's unfortunate the way that works. Everybody is selfish. Like I said, we saw that with Batman 66. Although that's finally on the air. We have Batman 66. It's a fun show. Although I can see a lot of people say that it started getting too campy. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is the format change in the 3rd season. The format change in the third season, I think, irritated people, and that's the introduction of Batgirl, because she shoehorns herself into every episode now. And she's not part of it. It's like, okay, it's Batman and Robin. I get that. And you bring in this whole new character in the third season, but you don't give us a break from her. And she's not part of the show. You're just trying to force her to be part of the show. It's annoying. It's like if every episode of Batman 66 had the Joker in it. You don't want to see the Joker every week. That's why they bring in other villains. Joker is a fun villain. Cesar Romero's portrayal of the Joker was hilarious. He had a great time with that. You could tell he was loving what he was doing. He was loving what he was doing. But it's you don't want to see him every week. You don't want to see the Penguin every week. You don't want to see Mr. Freeze every week. Break it up. And they're not breaking it up with Batgirl. She's there every week, and it was cute at first, but now she's getting buggy. It's like, oh crap, here comes Batgirl. Because it's really kind of stupid with Batgirl and the music that they play, and she's got lace on her motorcycle and all of that other stuff, and it's like, oh my god. Lynx said they tried watching the new Muppet shows. They're bad. One was doing the copycat of The Office. Yeah. You'll see the same thing with Mystery Science Theater. Love Mystery Science Theater 3000. But there's a charm to it. There's a charm to it that makes it really stand out, that makes it special, that you watch the original show and you know that most of what you're seeing is improvised. You know that they handmade those puppets. You know that they're building the sets. Joel was a prop comic before doing that, and he incorporated all of that into what he was doing on the show. And the modern version, because they brought it back, very heavily rehearsed, very overacted, professionally manufactured puppets being operated by Muppets official puppeteers. All of that's unnecessary. You've completely lost the whole point of what made that show special in the first place. The initial charm that made the original MST3K a cultural phenomenon for its time. I get that some of it is dated, because a lot of the references that they make, if you go back and watch the originals, people in the modern world aren't going to get some of it, because they'll be like, what the hell are you talking about? They make cultural references that the modern world or younger people, they're not going to understand. They're not going to understand. But the new one does not have any charm. It's too polished. They're trying to artificially produce that charm, and it's kind of nauseating. We attempted to watch it. After about 15 minutes, we shut it off for the first episode. And then we were like, well, maybe we didn't give it a chance. And so we went back and we watched like a couple of full episodes, and it's like, nah, I'm just not feeling it. It feels like professional actors. And the charm of the original is that they didn't know what they were doing, and they weren't professional, and it looked clumsy. It looked clumsy and cheesy, but it was fun. It was fun because of that. Robert wants to know if Batgirl or Wonder Woman is better. But Wonder Woman's all right. Wonder Woman got weird too, because Wonder Woman, they kept trying to make her relevant to a 70s audience. Because the first season of Wonder Woman, which there's only 3 seasons of the Linda Carter Wonder Woman, starts out in World War II. And they could have left it there. They could have left it there. But then they brought her in the second season into the modern era, into the 70s. And then in the third season, they got real weird with it. It was like Rod Serling took over. And there's aliens, and there's telepaths and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Although one of my favorite episodes is the one with John Carradine, David Carradine's father, well-known actor. You've probably seen him in a million old movies. That he was doing a voice because his character was actually a telepathic brain in a jar that was set inside of a wheelchair that would roll around. It was hilarious. I'm like, oh my God, this is who she's fighting. And they would make things fly across the room by running the film backwards. So like they had weights on the floor, but someone threw the weights on the floor, and then they would run the film backwards to make it look like they were flying off the floor. And then she's blocking them with her with her little wrist shields. It's like, my God. My goodness. Saturday Morning, of course, has been telling us about Batgirl, why she was on the show. I've been putting it up there. And it's because of her that you got the comic book. Hold on, detective here. I actually have it. This one I cleaned and pressed myself. They had to throw her into the comic because she appeared on the show and there was no Batgirl. So this came out shortly after her appearance on the Batman television show, the original 66. Because, yeah, they invented the canon. They didn't have much of a choice. It's like, oh, crap, we better put Batgirl in the comic book. Okay. Delroy says the episodes of 66 they didn't like was the rare single episode stories. And the one which had a phone call as the cliffhanger ending. You know what? It's another thing they took away that I really liked was the recap at the beginning of each episode, where they would show a still photograph. And actually, LPH and I really, really loved those. Really loved those. And when they stopped doing it, it's like, oh, that sucks. That sucks. Yeah, Lynx remembers the theme. He said Batgirl had a bad theme in the show. That's correct. Robert says Bionic Woman or Wonder Woman. Probably the Bionic Woman. I don't remember. I don't know. I used to watch Bionic Woman, but I haven't seen it since I was a kid. And I do have the whole series on disc. I picked it up at Walmart. Walmart actually recently has been the go-to place for finding a lot of these vintage shows. They've been popping up there. Hell, Rawhide is there right now. I'm like, holy crap, Rawhide with Clint Eastwood. Rawhide's a good show, actually. It's a really well-written Western. It's a really well-written Western. But a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff's been popping up on disc at Walmart that you would never have expected to see. And I did get Wonder Woman there. I also got Miami Vice because they've corrected the problem. The one that the Walmart box set, Miami Vice, again, you can get at Walmart right now, has the correct music in it. Has the correct music. And I'm like, okay, sure. And we picked that one up and we're watching that now. And it's surprisingly well written. Another one that we're watching is Stingray. You remember Stingray? Stingray was done by the same people who did Miami Vice, but Stingray came out first. And I think the reason that Stingray was shut down was actually so they could move all their production to Miami Vice, which is actually a better show. But the premise of Stingray, I just think, is really interesting. And of course, Stingray, the guy is like a a secret agent, as it were, who freelances helping people, A-team-ish, but he's on his own. But he doesn't get paid. He does it for a favor. I will help you out of your problem, and someday I will come to you and you will owe me a favor, and you must do it no matter what it is. And I'm like, hey, that's a really interesting premise. That is a really interesting premise for the show. I like that, actually. I like that. But yeah, that predated Miami Vice, and I think the reason if I remember correctly, the reason they canceled it was so that they could take over, so they could put all their energy into Miami Vice, which was a very expensive production. I think at the time it was on the air, it was the most expensive television show weekly being produced. But they delivered. The show was brilliant. I like Miami Vice. I think they did a great job with it. I like the visuals, which you can see a lot of the same visual concepts in Stingray, weird street shots and weird angles and stuff that just really kind of work. But they had better music because they were playing a lot of popular music. Saturday Morning said still no 70s Spider-Man shows or movies on DVD yet. I don't think so. The Spider-Man, I think the Spider-Man made-for-TV films are available on DVD, but they've only been released once and they're very expensive. And the 60s cartoon has been released at least once, and that's pretty freaking expensive too. A lot of that stuff is the Thor. I think I have the Thor on disc. They were only ever released once, and the amount that people want for it now, it's unreasonable. Another one is Rambo. You know, the Coleco Rambo after school show. Very, very expensive. Very expensive. Saturday Morning asked if I remember the show Probe. I'm not sure if I remember that. And I do have the Hulk. Is it down here? I think the Hulk might be upstairs. I've got the complete original 70s Hulk on DVD in a big box set. They're bringing Lou Ferrigno back to the MCU too. And Lynx reminds us about the Japanese version of Spider-Man. I remember that. I've only seen a few episodes of it, but yeah, I remember that. The Super Sentai type Spider-Man. The action figures from that are very expensive. Of course, they were only released in Japan. I don't know if there's really any stateside outside of private collections. You'd have to order one from Japan, like off of eBay or something, and it'd cost a pretty penny. Saturday Morning said there's 3 Spider-Man movies that were released on the big screen outside America, only on VHS and not in DVD in America. And that happens too, where there are things that are on VHS that have never made it to disc either. So there's a handful of VHSs out there that are quite valuable if you ever came across one or ever found one. There's a handful out there that retain a great deal of value. I don't have a lot of VHSs. I have a handful. And I do have a VCR. I have a VCR with the big cathode ray television that's in the corner. And I also have the portable VCR, which I said I was going to do a video talking about that. I never showed it. I have showed it before. And it's over here in the corner. And it's the Fun TV. And this is a backpack. Okay. This thing right here. Or it's not a backpack, but you see it's got a shoulder strap. Fun TV. And it's quite literally the first portable DVD player. Not DVD, excuse me. VHS cassette player. And you open it up here. See? And here's your VCR. And then this is this big box. It's about 5 inches thick. That's your screen. That's the screen. And you plug it into either your car charger or directly into a wall socket. And this does work. This does work. And I know people have asked me before to do a video demonstrating it. And I was going to do that. I just totally forgot about it. I totally forgot. There's a disc in here too. The it's, if I remember correctly, it's the original Casper movie on VHS that's still in here. But yeah, I've tested this. This does work. And so if you went camping or something like that, you take this like 20-pound monstrosity with you and you watch it on this, again, this is big heavy box that's hanging here. Then it plugs into the VCR and you watch it on this screen that's practically no bigger than the cell phone screen. You see, it's like about the same size. This is a cell phone screen. It's a little smaller, actually. It's not as wide. But yeah, there's a piece of history right there that the average person doesn't see. And I forget what year this came out. But just a weird piece of like media history. A weird piece of media history. But, you know, I could imagine back in those days looking at a screen like that. And it's like, why would somebody want to stare at a screen that small? And now look at everybody with the stupid cell phones, right? That's all they do is stare at the damn little screen all day. But yeah, I was thinking about that. I'll do a demonstration with that. If I remember, I'll do a demonstration with that sometime in the in a video for people that have never seen it before, because it's just kind of cool and silly. Yeah, Mysterion. Yeah, Mysterion. I remember Manimal. Manimal was pretty stupid. I remember Manimal. And they really dragged out a lot of filler with the transformations, and they show the same transformations over and over and over again. Over and over again. And what's this? Saturday Morning said VCR players can go for over 100 thanks to the VHS craze right now. Yeah, they've suddenly gotten really popular. Well, people have been getting lied to about it for years because they're sitting there saying, "Oh, you know, those weren't designed to last, and they don't work after a certain amount of time," and that's a lie. Those old VHS cassettes, they work fine. The betas work fine. Hell, 8-track works fine. You know, and if VHS don't work, the 8-track shouldn't work either, because it's the same type of magnetic film. Unless, again, it was exposed to a powerful magnet, a very strong magnet would ruin a VHS cassette. But if nothing happened to it, if it never got wet and never got magnetized, it should play fine. There's nothing wrong with those. There's nothing. I've seen more problems with DVDs than with VHS tapes, because temperature exposure to rapid temperature changes can mess up DVDs, and then they get all wonky. They don't play right. It's pretty bad. Link says he found a few VCRs in Goodwill. Hard to find one now. Vintage Poets here. He says, very cool comic book stand. Yeah, thank you. We got this again. And I've been doing videos on this because whenever we change the rack, because we do it once a month, I'll videotape it. And we got this and the matching magazine display over there at an estate sale not too long ago. not too long ago. But yeah, I've got a brand new condition VCR on top of right behind the chair there. You can't see it. There's a floor model television, an old school big cathode ray floor model television that we got free at an estate sale. And I literally, because it had a sticker on it that said free. And I was like, is this really free? And they were like, yeah, whoever can haul it out of here. Because those floor model TVs weigh a ton. And it worked. We tested it, and it worked. And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's take the floor model TV home. The old Sears Special. It's sitting behind the chair here with the VCR on it. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't see it. I have to turn there it is. I left the sticker on there too that says free, because that's part of the history now. That's part of the history now. And the VCR that's sitting on top of it is like literally out of the box new. Out of the box new. Toy Sheep wants to know if I ever wanted the Clash of the Titans figure. Oh yeah. I would love to have the Clash of the Titans figure series. And I've seen them a few times at shows, but every time I see them, they're resealed cars. Or cards. The cards have been resealed. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that, and the other one that's really amazingly difficult is the Knickerbocker Lord of the Rings. From when the television special was on, I think, ABC. Is that right? The television special was on ABC. They had The Hobbit, and then they had the Lord of the Rings and the Return of the King. And The Hobbit was voiced by Roddy McDowell. Migo's asking about the jukeboxing. Oh, the jukebox. Yeah, because I got a jukebox over there too. Now it's behind the chair and you can't see it. It's right there, actually. There it is. There's the jukebox. Haven't had, with all that's going on right now, with the situation with my wife's father and everything, I have not had time to mess with it. Have not had time to mess with it. And Richard says, you're on. I didn't get a notification. It figures. We're hanging in there. Again, it's been a real rough ride for the last few weeks. This is week 9 with my wife's father staying with us again. He has very severe dementia, and it is a handful. It is very, very difficult on both of us. While we wait for a placement for him. Because he's a danger to himself. He has to be in a secure location. And we got to watch him 24 hours a day. I'm barely getting 3 or 4 hours a night sleep at night. And again, that's why we did not do the live streams for a few weeks. But then last week and this week, my wife encouraged me to just go ahead and get on for a little while and just say hi to everybody and whatever. So that's what I've been doing. That's why I'm on here today, although I'm on earlier than I normally would be. Earlier than I normally would be, because typically I would go on at 7. But yeah, not tonight. And yeah, I've done, again, 3 videos this week, actually. The roundup yesterday, which a lot of you probably saw. I did the video for the comic rack, which is late, because usually it's at the first of the month that we change this. Just didn't have time to film it because of all that's going on here. And then an unboxing of some oddities that I've got for the museum recently, like these Super Dino monsters that I talked about a little bit earlier. And the short that I did today when I was visiting with my friend Martin, who I've got to get him over here. Because he was in the old museum room once before, but he has not seen the new setup. I still haven't even been able to film a tour in here yet, but again, we've only got one we've only got toy room 1 set up. 2 and 3, the projects are on hold because I can't do the construction work while her father is here, because it takes a lot out of us to keep after him all day. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. It takes a lot out of us. And Richard made a donation to the channel for the kitties, he says. Thank you, Richard. Of course, you all, I think everybody who's in here is aware by now that we have a lot of felines that we take care of. I'm currently taking care of 13 of them. 13 of them. And again, I highly suspect that the gray one that I call Stranger, who is the new one, might have dropped a litter somewhere, and I just can't find it. So thank you, Richard. All the help we can get with the felines. And Stone Sour's joining us. This is, hey now, yeah, I'm early. I'm early today because I'm just not going to be able to do it later. And again, the wife encouraged me to come on and just chat for a while. I have the crown. I know it's no King's Day, so suck it. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. That's the crown, which we've been marketing it a little bit here, as it were, or marketing or branding it. Not marketing, because I'm not getting any money, but branding it for the channel, because people are starting to really recognize the crown now, which is fine. Which is fine. Saturday morning said Fall Guy had a Halloween special with him and Elvira in a haunted house. Really? I don't know if I don't think I remember that. Robert says, do you still post cat videos? Haven't seen any. On the cat channel, I haven't done a full-fledged cat video on that channel in a while. Tonka made Fall Guy action figures. Well, they made 2. They made the Fall Guy with a plane, and they made the Fall Guy in his truck. And I don't think they made anything else. Tonka did in the early 80s. And I do have the plane in the box. I do not have the truck, though. And they're insanely expensive because you can't find them. You just can't find those. Fan loves the spinner rack videos. Yeah, we've done 3 so far. This is the 3rd one that went up this week. And again, we'll try to continue to do it. Robert says Tonka or Ertl. Ertl did make a Fall Guy as a 2-inch die-cast figure, carded, as well as Smokey and the Bandit, and they did a handful of little 2-inch die-cast. But Tonka did make the Fall Guy action figures. I can show you the set if you've never seen it. If anybody's interested, I can grab that here really quickly. But yeah, we've been kind of branding with the crown, expanding on it, since so many people seem to recognize this now. And Delroy made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Delroy. He says for the purr boxes, obviously for the kitties, yeah. Again, we got 13 that feral. All of mine have been TNVR'd, which is, you know, they've been fixed and they've been vaccinated. This is a strange cat who's been coming around and eating out of their food. I think she's given birth, and I just don't know where the hell her nest is, her den. I want to find it, because if she did give birth, a lot of times cats that are born in the wild get eye infections, and it will kill them. It could end their lives if they have an eye infection. So I really want to find if she does have kittens. I'll find her den, because I can treat that. I've done it before with feral kittens, treated them so that they don't go blind and die. So hopefully, but yeah, we're currently taking care of 13 again. I had 14, but I had one that I was able to move on. I hate doing adoptions. I hate it, but you know that it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary sometimes. And Dynamite Tiger is here asking about the father-in-law. Not any better, because you know you don't recover from that. It just gets worse day by day. It does not. The dementia does not improve. Medication does not work. They tell you it'll slow down the progress. It's not true. It just continues to get worse and weirder. So it's been a challenge. It's been a real challenge. He's still with us until we can get a proper placement. And, you know, it would be the best thing for him, because otherwise, you know, having to babysit an adult like that day after day, all day long, it's very difficult. Lynx is asking, oh, and Dynamite, thank you for your prayers, of course. And again, all the well wishers. I will let LPH know when I get back upstairs. Lynx says, "Is it raining where you are? Not harm the baby kitties." Well, I would hope wherever her den is, it's someplace that will not be directly affected by the rain. Our outdoor cats, the ones that we care for that stay outside, they have an enclosure that they can use. They do have an enclosure that they can use. So they always have a dry, warm, dark place that they can go and hide out. And Raccoon made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Raccoon. Thank you, everybody, for helping us out there. Of course, you know, hey, even just food and litter, it gets up there. It gets up there. And there are people that make donations by sending us cat food too. We've gotten cat food in the mail too. It's been great. Thank you, Richard. Of course, prayers for LPH and her father. It's hard. It's hard on her when he doesn't know who she is, and that's happened several times. He doesn't know who I am. Period. He is. I've known him 15 years. He doesn't know who I am. He remembers the name, but he thinks I'm a different. He thinks I'm a different David. Someone else that he used to know, not David Ternessa's husband, because she's not married. I'm like, okay. Okay. Oh, Robert says we haven't seen the kitties. Oh no. Well, there's Miss Kitty. I took that one today. That's Miss Kitty, evil Miss Kitty, and she does that to me. She's a mean-spirited cat. And she's the one that hates other cats. And she curls up on me like that all the time. Me, she likes. Me, she likes. And here's Granny Smith. A lot of people love Granny Smith on the stairs because she'll just sleep anywhere. Those two are two of the indoor ones. Let me see, who else have I got here? Well, that's Granny Smith again, laying on my foot. Oh, it's hard to see, huh? Yeah, Raccoon remembers that. He says, "I miss Monkey digging in your beard." Yeah, because he does like the beard. There's Uncle with Granny in the background. Uncle's 25 pounds. 25 pounds of cat. He's pretty gentle, though. Munin says, "Is Monkey still there?" He is. I couldn't get rid of, I know I'm crazy. That is actually Granny Smith's paw. The beans, right? The little beans. Monkey is, let me see. I know I've got a picture of him recent. I'm pretty sure I do. That's the feral mama that showed up just recently. God, it's hard to get it in focus. I got to get the pictures on the computer, because if it's on the computer, I can share the images, and it'd be a little easier to see. Oh, here we go. That's Monkey with his tongue sticking out. And Robert asked about Hobo. Yes, of course, Hobo and Dad are still here. and they're in the habitat with everybody else. They're actually, this is our porch. That's Hobo, Dad on the top, Hobo in the middle, and then on the bottom there is Pinky. So named because she has a bright pink nose. And Eric says it's funny how animals usually attach to one individual. My dog loves both me and my wife, but she definitely is attached to her. Yeah, they have their picks. They have their picks. And it's funny. It is funny how they do that. Yeah, here's a better shot of Hobo. Yeah, everybody loves Hobo. Hobo, of course, is the one that has no teeth, which is why his tongue's always hanging out. Poor guy. And he was wretched when I found him. He was dying because, of course, he can't eat. He can't eat. And then that's me and Pixel Dan. That's when the beard was a little longer. But yeah, I enjoy taking care of them. I love helping them. I love having them around, even the ones that don't like me. And there's a couple of the ferals from outside who, they're just coming around for the meal. They're just coming around for the meal. They don't care about me, and that's fine. And there's other ones that they're super friendly, and you can tell they really like you. And that's pretty cool when you can have that kind of interaction. So yeah, I love them all. And sometimes there's just too many. And if somebody's suitable, then, we arrange an adoption, and we do it through a service so that we're not just giving away a cat. We use a proxy to get them adopted. Like the last two went out through Paws, or three, Paws Atlanta. And I hate doing that even, because I would prefer that they stay. I want to keep them all forever. I wish I could. And just for reference, that's Hobo when we found him. You can't even tell what color he is. And that's all of that coloration is all scabs. He was in terrible condition. Intestinal worms, stomach virus, ear mites, fleas, and starving, literally starving. But that's Hobo when we found him. Like, 3 years ago? It's a lot of difference. It's a lot of difference a little love can make with some of these creatures. And he was feral. He was terrified. But he was too weak to resist when I picked him up. He couldn't fight me. He couldn't even hardly try. And now he's like the most friendly, affectionate cat you can imagine. He jumps all over me when he sees me. And one of the few cats, he likes being hugged. You can wrap him up. He loves it. And Delroy says, are you near Atlanta? I think retroblasting is around there. Yeah, I think so. I think he is. Yeah, we're near Atlanta, but we're in more of a rural area. I think I've run into retroblasting a few times but I haven't hardly had a chance to talk to him. There's a few locals that I've run into. Yeah, Richard says cats can tell who are caring individuals that would take care of them. I think so. Yeah, Blue Splash says he's on the open by chance diet. And Saturday Morning wants to know if I saw a trailer for a Ninja Turtles Christmas special. Has the 90s bootleg turtle toys in the plot, and they have new toys of the bootlegs as official toys coming. Really? I don't think I've seen that. But anyway, we're getting close to 2 hours. I got to go ahead and sign off. I got to go help the wife, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and get off. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Of course, special thanks to Pastor Rick, to Richard, to Delroy, and to Raccoon for making donations to the channel to help us out with our felines. It really, to me, it means a lot. It really does. LPH too, because I mostly take care of them, but she loves them. I know she does. Anyways, thank you, everybody. Hope you had a good time, and we'll try to do this again sometime soon.